Start with a flea flicker to open up the night. And he connects with Galladay.
Sup, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Flea Flicker with Joey D and Timmy B. Today we are going to talk about Week 13. Unfortunately, our guest had to cancel at the last minute, so we didn't want to find somebody at the last minute either. So it's just Joey D and Timmy B making picks today. But Joe, how are you, man? Are you excited to talk some football today?
Always, Tim. Always excited to talk football. Get right into it. I'm just now remembering I have not looked at any of my fantasy lineups for this week. Thank God there was no Thursday night football, but just crossed my mind. So, after this, hopefully this conversation helps me make some decisions moving forward today. And there's some good decisions for these fantasy playoffs coming up, baby.
Absolutely, and I think it will because a lot of leagues, this is the regular season finale, so you definitely got to get your lineups, and the Buccaneers and Panthers are on bye. So if you have any of those, and I know you do with Mike Davis and Curtis Samuel, we're going to have to get flexible.
And I have Mike Evans.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a rough Week 13 bye for those two teams, or at least for fantasy. I'm sure they enjoy the bye. But, Joe, let's just hop in to Wednesday night football. Let's recap it a little bit. The Steelers beat the Ravens 19-14. And the Ravens looked pretty good with RG3, a practice squad, offensive line for a couple of guys on the offensive line. Trace McSorley came in. The Ravens have the longest touchdown in the history in the NFL on Wednesday football. So, Joey D, we'll kick it off with you first. What were your thoughts from the Steelers barely beating the Ravens 19-14 on Wednesday? I mean, they're undefeated, but they didn't look like an undefeated football team.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, there are no moral victories in the NFL, but this for the Ravens, even though it was a loss, they were playing without so many key players and kept that to a one-score game for most of the game. And, right there at the very end, Trace McSorley coming in, making a huge play. Just really, you really like to see that fight. You can definitely see the impact that John Harbaugh has had on that team and that culture. And on the flip side with the Steelers, that's a game. I think who was it? Stephon Tuitt beforehand was tweeting like very disrespectful stuff, just saying like pad your stats this game. Let's move on to the real game next week against Washington. You're saying that this Baltimore team is less of a match than the Washington football team. I mean, they. If you're going to say that, you better actually come out and do it. I mean, I'm sure that he was pretty concerned throughout that whole game that he was going to look like an idiot. But I mean, like I said, the Steelers, that's a game where you definitely want to win that a little bit more handily. Like you said, I don't think they're a legit 11-0 football team.
No, but we both said, Joe, that the Steelers would go 11-5 or 12-4 and be in contention for the AFC North along with the Ravens and a potential AFC contender. And they're just a product of having the easiest schedule in the NFL. I mean, the Ravens have like the fourth easiest. So when you play the NFC East and the AFC South, you're going to have some easy games, and the Steelers are just winning the games. And they remind me a lot of the 2015 Panthers, who went 15-1, were also 11-0. I believe I saw something that I retweeted back in the day where ESPN stats was like, statistically, the Panthers are the worst team to go 11-0 or start 11-0. So that kind of reminds me of the similar team where, they're a good football team, but maybe the undefeated record doesn't indicate that they are undefeated. But I'm with you, Joe. This was a game where you had to pad your stats. This was a game like we saw with the Saints and the Broncos. The Saints were like, we need to win this game 30-3. They should not score. And that's basically what happened. This should have been a similar outcome in my eyes as a Ravens fan. But it's always good news for the Ravens to play a close game. And when we see them in January, full strength, we are kicking their ass, Joe. But even Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin, even in their post-game press conferences, they were like, yeah, like, I don't know why you're congratulating us on the win. Like, that was an awful performance by our team. But, Joe, any final thoughts on what I just said or the game itself before we hop into some Week 13 picks?
Yeah, I don't love the comparison, the 2015 Panthers. In my mind, the 2015 Panthers were that good because of Cam Newton having that MVP caliber year, and it elevated all of the lack of talent around him. I'm pretty sure Jericho Cotchery and Devin Funchess were his two starting wide receivers that year. Like that year, Cam Newton was just a superstar. This year on the offensive side and even the defensive side, there haven't really been any superstars for the Steelers that you could say are the reason that they are 11-0. I mean, it's a whole team effort playing well enough to be 11-0 right now, but I think that, like you said, we can all see it's a little bit hollow. I just don't love that comparison because, I mean, Ben Roethlisberger isn't having like an MVP year. You know, there's no Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown lighting it up on offense. I mean, Chase Claypool kind of, but I don't know. That's my only gripe with that comparison outside of their records. You know, I just don't see the comparison.
Yeah, and I can see that too because I think especially because everybody expected the Steelers to be a good and competitive football team. I think that year nobody really thought that the Panthers, you know, I don't think anybody was really picking them for the Super Bowl or even the division title. So I think it was just like oh wow, the Panthers are undefeated. So I can see that. But Joe, enough of that. You actually had a great week. You went 13-3. So you got a first round bye in the playoffs. I went 10-6. I won my division, won the division. We got in. And then our guest, Mike, got affected by the curse. He went 9-5. So we will send him a jacket once we get them. Mike hit up our assistant. But Joe, you ready to hop into some week 13 football games?
Always, baby. Let's get after it.
Well, perfect. So the first game we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are an 11-point favorite. The over-under is set at 42. And, I mean, this has to be the Dolphins, but do the Bengals even put up a fight? They almost beat the Giants last week.
Yeah, it's got to be the Dolphins. Do we know which QB is starting? I don't think it's going to affect the outcome of the game, but I think that's still something interesting to follow.
I personally don't know, but if it is, I mean, depending who the starting QB is, maybe that spread of 11, maybe it's a little bit of a closer game, but I don't think that's going to be a factor.
Right. Well, for my fantasy and Devontae Parker, I hope it's Ryan Fitzpatrick. But, I mean, you know, it's either way, it's a better QB versus Ryan Finley. Is that who's starting?
It's either Ryan Finley or Brandon Allen again.
Oh, that's right, Brandon Allen. So, yeah, I mean, either way, like, it's that offense is not going to be able to do much against this Miami defense. I mean, you know, we saw last week without Joe Burrow, Tyler Boyd had a very pedestrian day. I don't know if AJ Green got involved that much. T. Higgins had that one touchdown kind of late in the game. So, I mean, you know, that offense, you know, and without Joe Mixon as well, like they don't have the pieces there to move the ball consistently. And we know their defense isn't that good to begin with. So, yeah, I don't think this is going to be a close game in Miami, no matter who the starting QB is.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're all going to ride with the Dolphins, and now moving to the other Florida team that's playing this week, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going on the road to the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are a 10-point favorite, so we have back-to-back double-digit point favorites. The over-under is at 51. This is a game the Vikings need to win. This is a game that they should win. But, Joe, are they going to win?
Oh, man, I really want to pick the Jaguars for this game. Like, I feel like this could be where they get that second win and screw up your prediction, Tim. Nah, I'm going to go with the Vikings. I'm going to go with the – you know what? No, I'm going to go with the Jaguars. Wait, who else do they play this year? Do we know? Do we know who else the Jaguars play this year?
I don't. I would imagine they play the Colts again, I think. I know that.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with the Jaguars. I think the Vikings are gonna look past them a little bit. I liked what I saw out of Mike Glennon last week. Just kind of using a lot of different weapons there. He's a lot more of a pocket passer. You know, he's not gonna extend the play like Gardner Minshew. And I mean, this Vikings defense is vulnerable. I don't love the pick. I'm going with the pick to. I feel like this could be the surprise win of the day. And this could be where the Jaguars get that second win. I mean, you know, they beat the Colts in that first week. So this is kind of a similar type matchup, I feel, where, you know, you wouldn't expect this to be the game where they get that other win. You know, it's not like they're playing the Jets and I can be like, finally, the Jags. But, you know, I feel like this could be that game where the Vikings look past them. Kirk Cousins it. And maybe DJ Henderson, you know, or CJ Henderson, the rookie corner, has a big game against Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Justin Jefferson, Joe, if you need a fantasy person to go in your lineup, I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he would be a great wide receiver for your team, fantasy or real team. But I got to go with the Vikings, like you said, Joe. I predicted the Jaguars to go 1-15, so as long as that's still in play, I got to pick against them. I'm going with the Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins is going to do just enough. He's going to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson, and if Thielen is back, he'll throw it to Adam Thielen. Plus, it's also not primetime. It's 1 p.m. Kirk Cousins, and this is a game that they need to win, like I said, because I believe this would get them to 6-6, and that really gets them in the hunt for the December push.
And that's why I think they blow it.
Ooh, okay. All right. And now we're moving to two other NFC North teams.
A lot of pressure for Kirk Cousins.
A lot of pressure for Kirk Cousins, but more pressure for Mitchell Trubisky, the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears. We have the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. Bears are a 3-point favorite. Over-under is at 45. Now, when these teams played in week 1, Mitch Trubisky came back, I believe, scored 17 points in the fourth quarter to beat the Lions. Joe, does Mitch Trubisky do it again against the Lions?
Is Kenny Golladay back this week? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I don't know either. I don't think he is. Yeah, I mean, I don't see the offense for the Bears being able to do much consistently, even against this Lions defense. Do we know who the Lions interim head coach is right now?
Yeah, it's Daryl Blevin or Blyven, or I think it's the offensive coordinator, I think.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Lions in this one. I think that the Matt Patricia effect, him being gone, is going to kind of let these players be a little bit more loose. They've their season is kind of a wash right now. So they really need to just, have some heart, think about next year, put some good things on tape for themselves if, players are becoming free agents and whatnot. So I think that the Lions just have a little bit more they have a little bit more chemistry and a little bit more fight, while the Bears just have a little bit more dysfunction. I mean, after the game last week, Matt Nagy was ripping Trubisky, ripping the offense, ripping himself. It just seems like there's a lot of inner turmoil there. We know Allen Robinson does not want to stay there coming in into next year. So I just could see this game being a pure implosion by the Bears, and the Lions having, kind of a fun game and, a feel-good victory after their head coach got fired. Kind of like with the Falcons when Dan Quinn got fired and then they came out and won their next game.
Yeah, I can see that, but not this week. I'm going to go with the Bears, Joe, just because they need to win. They're still technically in the hunt, and I think that they're going to get right. And I think on the Lions side, I could see that, pick me up, play loose, and they will be playing loose and playing free. But they're also probably just thinking about, let's get to January healthy. Let's get, a good draft pick. So I'm going to go with the Bears for this one. I just like them. And who knows, with outside game in December in Chicago, that doesn't fare well for the Lions.
Right.
So,
well, my other thing with the Bears is with Allen Robinson, kind of like you said, let's just stay healthy and get to January. I mean, he's got that same mindset, knowing he's probably not going to be back here in Chicago next year. Like, if he's got a layout for a catch over the middle and he thinks he might get injured, maybe he doesn't make that play. And that's a key play. So it's in my mind, I like I said, I just think there's inner turmoil with the Bears, and I just can't really see them, picking it back up and, getting into the playoffs here. I mean, they don't deserve to.
Yeah, plus you also like the Lions. You said they were average. You said they were 8-8. I said they were bad, and they're going to go like 5-11 or 6-10. So
what's
I know you have that
right
little
now?
soft up.
What's the record right now?
They have to have not too many wins. Let's look it up.
Yeah, I'm curious.
So
8-8 is on the table still.
I mean, I'm sure it's definitely still on the table, but can they do it is the question. All right, Detroit Lions. Let's see. The Lions are 4-7, so it is in play still.
Right.
Oh, but their schedule is Bears, Packers, Titans, Buccaneers, Vikings.
Okay, so they're 4-7. All right, yeah, they're gonna be 6-10. Dang it. All right. Well, I'm still picking them.
It's nice that we are picking opposite, at least for 2 of the first 3 games, and now we're probably going to go to a game that
I feel bad for you, Tim. I went 13-3. You went 10-6.
Hey,
I got.
You're shaking it up a little bit, yeah. But now, Joe, we're probably going to pick this team together. The Las Vegas Raiders are an 8-point road favorite at the New York Jets. Over-under is at 46.5. Now, the Raiders don't have Josh Jacobs. I believe they don't have one of their defensive linemen as well. I believe Cleline Farrell is playing. I saw that Schefter tweet. But does that really factor the outcome of this game? Are the Raiders still going to win?
They should. I mean, that's what we thought about them against the Falcons last week. And the Falcons, I mean, the Raiders just did not show up one bit last week. Like, I don't know how that is a trap game for them when they've got the Jets next week. It's not like they're over preparing for the Jets and overlooking the Falcons. You know, so I don't think that the Jets win this game. I don't think that the Raiders, you know, are going to blow them out like a lot of people would expect. I think it'll probably be a little bit closer than people expected. But I think the Raiders should be able to get this win. I'm so leery about them after that butt whooping by Atlanta last week.
Yeah, absolutely. My big factor after coming off a blowout loss like that is John Gruden is your head coach. They have like the coaching staff. They have the front office in place. It's a pretty good organization. If it was somebody else, like a rookie head coach or whatever, I might say, yeah, that was bad. But John Gruden's going to get those guys in shape for this week against the Jets, and they are not going to take this opponent lightly. So I'm going to go with the Raiders as well. And Joe, now you mentioned the Falcons, who the Raiders beat. They're playing Taysom Hill and the New Orleans Saints. I don't think Drew Brees is playing just yet, but I could be wrong. Saints are a 3-point favorite. Over-under is 46. Joe, can the Falcons pull it off again? Another home upset?
No, I think that last time they played, I picked the Falcons to win. I think it was when Taysom Hill was having his first start against the Falcons, and he ended up just outperforming expectations, and that's what he's done so far. I do kind of like what this offense has been. Bye, Brookie.
Bye, Brooke.
Tim says bye. Okay, she left. Now it's on. Let's party.
Yes.
So I do think that this offense with Taysom Hill, it's a very dynamic rushing attack. Just because it's kind of similar with Lamar Jackson. You know what we saw from Colin Kaepernick. You know, a lot of QB power, and you know, with Taysom Hill as the every down quarterback, you don't necessarily know it's going to be a run every time he's in. You know, it could be a pass. He has been able to, you know, make some plays in the passing game. Alvin Kamara has been tremendously affected by this Taysom Hill, you know, explosion these last few weeks. So I would like to see him get back on track for my fantasy, but you know, in reality, I just don't think it's going to matter. I think this Saints offense is going to be able to run all over the Falcons. That offensive line was really good, especially in the run game. And, you know, this Falcons team, you know, there was a big win over Las Vegas last week, but I don't think it'll be enough to beat the Saints while they're rolling right now.
Yeah, I'm going with the Saints as well. And I think I mentioned on our last episode that this would basically clinch the division. This would get them the 11th win. That would get them to 5-0 in the division. So they would own all tiebreakers over the Buccaneers. And with 5 games to go after this, right? 11-2 is their team. Anyways, this would get them to basically clinch the division. All they would have to do is basically win 1 or 2 more games, which the Saints will do. And they're pretty good at putting opponents away, so I think the Saints will win this game and beat the Falcons, Joe. Now we're staying down south, but the AFC South, and we have the Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. The Colts are a 3-point road favorite. The over-under is 51, and they also need to win this game. But are they going to win this game, Joe? Yeah,
I'm going to go with the Colts to win this game. They have to win this game, like you said, to stay competitive in the division. I mean, if the Titans drop a few and the Colts can sneak into that division lead, I mean, that's huge compared to, I think right now they're the 5 seed. Is that right?
Yeah, I think the Colts are the 5 or 6 seed, I believe.
Yeah. So, I mean, that difference in a couple spots could be tremendous for them. You know, especially, you know, in December when they need to be, you know, healthy and at home in order to be successful, especially in the ground game and the defense. So, you know, I think that they're going to be able to get on track here. The Will Fuller being suspended for the remainder of the season, I think is huge. I believe there's a defensive player as well who was also suspended for the same.
There was. I forget who it was though.
I can't remember either. But I saw a meme that was like, oh, the person who gave it to them was Brian Cushing.
He's the strength and conditioning coach.
Exactly, he's the strength and conditioning coach on the Texans, and I'm pretty sure he got busted for steroids back in the day. God, you remember when he just like headbutted someone without his helmet on? His face was gushing blood. That was nuts. Brian Cushing is unreal. I miss him. Yeah, I mean, there's no Brian Cushing for the Texans to save them this game. The Colts have someone kind of like him on the other side of the field, and Darius Leonard. I think he's going to have a big game and just kind of remind a lot of the NFL, what we've forgotten about him since his explosion of a rookie campaign. He's one of the best inside linebackers in the NFL. And I don't think David Johnson is back yet either, if I'm not mistaken. So, we got the Duke Johnson rushing attack. We know that's not going to work. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Colts to win this game.
Yeah, I've been picking the Texans a lot recently, and Deshaun Watson is like on fire now. But without Will Fuller, how will that change? How will that change Deshaun Watson's play? I think it's going to be a close one. But as I said with a couple of other games, I think the Colts just have that veteran leadership and organization. Like, all right, this is a game we need to go in and win. And they are going to go in and win. So I think the Colts will win. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans won. I mean, Deshaun Watson's playing great right now. And we'll see how without Will Fuller that affects that offense. And, Joe, now it's time for the team that the Colts are competing for the AFC South with the Tennessee Titans. The Cleveland Browns are coming to town. Titans are a 5.5-point favorite. Over-under is at 53. Joe, I don't even think this is going to be close. I think the Titans blow the Browns out of the water. Not saying that the Browns are fraudulent at 8-3, but I think the 8-3 Browns is a little bit more fraudulent, we'll just say, than the 11-0 Steelers. I mean, and again, it's a byproduct of just beating teams better, or that you're better than on the schedule. But I think the Titans, tractor Cedo season, Derrick Henry's going to run all over this defense, and this is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I haven't watched a ton of the Browns this year. They're good in the run game, and that's about it. I mean, Baker Mayfield has not he still has not lived up to that number one overall pick status since, his pretty good rookie year. He's regressed a lot since then. I mean, I know that they don't have Odell Beckham this year, but you've still got to be able to, hit the plays that an NFL quarterback is expected to. And, he just has consistently missed on a lot of those. And on the flip side, Ryan Tannehill has just been a really steady and consistent starting QB since he's come to Tennessee. It's just such a remarkable story after so many people wrote him off after his stint in Miami and just never expected him to kind of get to this level. And, he continues to consistently feed his playmakers. I mean, Corey Davis and A.J. Brown are having phenomenal years this season. Derrick Henry continues to just be a Mack truck that cannot be stopped. So I just don't see this Browns defense being able to slow down, this really red hot Tennessee Titans offense. I mean, like I said, I haven't watched the Browns a lot this year, but when I watched the Eagles and the Browns play, it was a remarkably close game. Aside of the pick six that Carson Wentz threw, we could have very well won that game. So, those kind of plays and that kind of ineptitude is not going to happen when you face a team like the Tennessee Titans. So I think, like you said, Titans win big.
Yeah, and people forget last year in week 1, the Titans went to Cleveland, and last year was the year Cleveland was going to win the Super Bowl. Titans went in, won like 44-20. They had 2 pick sixes in the fourth quarter to put it away. And so they really dominated that whole game and ended up winning by, I believe, around 20 points. And I think that's going to happen again. Plus, the Browns' schedule is getting tough. They have the Titans this week. They have the Ravens next week. So, I mean, there's a tough couple of games, and we will really see who this Browns team is. But when we've said that earlier, against teams like the Texans and the Raiders, they've ended up losing or barely winning. So it'll be interesting to see how the Browns come out of this game. But I think the Titans do blow them out with tractor Cedo. And that's going to do it for the 1 o'clock games, Joe. Hopping into the 4 o'clock games, the first one we have is the NFC East leading New York Giants at the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are a 10.5-point favorite. Over-under is 47. 10.5 seems like a lot to me, Joe. I think that the Giants – I have the Seahawks winning. That's my pick. I'm going with the Seahawks. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants made this close, and it could be a game like last week with the Seahawks and Eagles where there was never a doubt the Seahawks were winning, but the Giants were still kind of in the game based on the score and, a pick six here or a fumble there. Maybe they're back in it and get that momentum. But I have the Seahawks winning. Joe, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm also going with the Seahawks. Like you said, I could see it being a little bit closer than people expect. I mean, that Giants defense has been playing really, really well this year. But I mean, Daniel Jones, I believe, has been ruled out for this game, or is at
Colt
least
McCoy,
doubtful.
baby.
Yeah, Colt McCoy. So I mean, it's not even like he has Saquon Barkley back there he can hand the ball off to really help out. So even though the Seahawks defense has not been very good this year, I don't think that Giants offense is going to do much more than Philadelphia did this past week. Like you said, I think it's going to be, in Seahawks control the whole game. Maybe at the very end, there's some garbage time, touchdown or field goal that brings it a little bit closer. But I think the Seahawks win this game pretty handily.
Yeah, I actually saw this morning NFL Memes posted something that the NFC East all has backup quarterbacks, and it was Colt McCoy, Alex Smith, Andy Dalton, and Carson Wentz. But moving on, we're going to get to the Eagles in just a second, Joe. But before we get to the Eagles, a very, very important game in the NFL and the NFC West. The Los Angeles Rams are a 2.5-point road favorite at the Arizona Cardinals. Over-under is 48. Joe, this is a key matchup for both teams. Both teams need to win this game, but who do you have winning?
Yeah, this is such a tough one. I mean, the way that they're both playing right now, I mean, you don't know what you're going to get with the Rams offense week in and week out, but it's the same with the Cardinals offense. I mean, I don't know if Kyler Murray is healthy right now or what. I'm going to go with the Rams in this game because I just trust their defense more. Aaron Donald against that, kind of shaky offensive line for Arizona, and then Jalen Ramsey versus DeAndre Hopkins. This is kind of what we talked about last week when they lost to New England. I mean, Stephon Gilmore is able to do a really good job on DeAndre Hopkins. So who else is gonna step up? Is this where Christian Kirk has, a couple long touchdowns? Is this where Larry Fitzgerald comes back and is able to kind of create a spark? But I just don't really see that for the Arizona offense this week. So I'm going to go with the Rams because I think their defense can slow down the Cardinals offense a little bit more than the Cardinals defense is going to be able to slow down the Rams.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going with the Rams as well. You said it best. I think it's going to be the defense. And again, the theme of this episode is I just think that they have the better coaching staff and that veteran leadership in place saying like, all right, guys, this is a game we need to win. We're going to go out and win. So I'm going with the Rams as well. And Joe, now it's time for the Philadelphia Eagles at the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are a 9-point favorite at Lambeau Field. The over-under is 49. Now, Joe, last year the Eagles played at the Packers on Thursday Night Football. I believe they were 0-2 or 1-2. It was very early. People wrote off the Eagles that the Packers would win, but the Eagles pulled off the win. Are they going to do it again this time?
No, they are not, Tim. We're not going to win a game. So don't try to trick me into picking them. I won't do it to myself. Last year we won that game on the run game. Our offensive line was healthy, and Jordan Howard had a really big game. Miles Sanders really sparked the offense sparked the team that game. He had a kick return that got us into plus territory and set up a very short field and, kind of kicked us off after I think we were down 10-0. But I mean, we saw what just happened with DK Metcalf, against Darius Slay. Now we got Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers coming into town. And I bet that's going to be the game plan again for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's put Darius Slay one-on-one with Devontae Adams and, try to have that be where you have to win. I mean, I think that this is a game where Darius Slay does match up with Devontae Adams a little bit better than he does with DK Metcalf, just from like a physicality standpoint. But also, he has some familiarity with Devontae Adams, having been to Detroit for his whole career and having to play the Packers twice a year. So I think that he has a better game against Devontae Adams than he did against DK Metcalf. It would be hard to do worse. But, I don't trust our offense to be able to, A, be competent in general, but B, like I said, last year, the run game was really what was key to winning this game. And that's how you beat the Packers in the run game because they have such a bad run defense. But, our offensive line is now on its 11th different starting offensive line combination. It looks like Jack Driscoll is going to start at right tackle over Matt Pryor, which is the right call. But I I mean, last week, Doug Peterson gave Miles Sanders 6 carries for 15 yards. You know, I get it. The Seahawks have a good run defense and a bad pass defense, but you have to understand what your offense is, what your quarterback has been doing. You know, you got to run the ball. So they have continued to beat their heads against a brick wall. I have no confidence in them doing anything differently this week. They should run it to Miles Sanders. They should be able to have success doing that. But between the terrible play calling and the backup offensive lineman and then the terrible QB play, I know it's not going to happen and we're not going to win this game. So that's all.
I mean, you can't pick against Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams going up against a team like the Philadelphia Eagles. And you said it, Joe. Like, the way you beat the Packers is with the run game. And I don't know if Miles Sanders can do that alone. You need Boston Scott and Clement to also step up, and I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't know if you also saw this. It might have been NFL memes as well. That DK Metcalf has more yards in 3 games at Lincoln Financial Field than J.J. Arcega-Whiteside has in his entire career. I don't know if you saw that as well, but it was like not even close. It was like by 140 yards.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Like he almost had more yards in 1 game than he had than Arcega-Whiteside had in his career. I mean, I think he just came back from the COVID list. Great, that's the first thing he caught all year. Let me tell you. Oh, God.
All right. Well, yeah. So we both got the Packers, and then we have the New England Patriots at the Los Angeles Chargers. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. Currently, I have the Chargers as a 1.5-point favorite. Over under is 47. Joe, give me your thoughts from Cam Newton versus Justin Herbert, and Justin Herbert going up against the Patriots defense and Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, I've liked a lot of what I've seen from Justin Herbert this year. And I haven't liked a lot of what I see from New England this year. But the way that the Chargers continue to find heartbreaking ways to lose is what it comes down to for me. I mean, I kind of see this game going similar to what it was with Arizona last week, where Stephon Gilmore is going to take away Keenan Allen, and then Justin Herbert is going to have to get somebody else, which he's been pretty good at doing. Guyton, I guess, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, Austin Eckler's back. He's been able to do that. So I don't want to count him out, but I also, have no confidence in this Chargers defense. They've just been so poor this year. And while I don't love what Cam and, the New England offenses looked like, I just think that they're going to be able to find a way to win, and the Chargers are going to find a way to lose. So that's what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, I'm going with the Patriots as well. I mean, there's a lot of turmoil in Los Angeles as well. I know a lot of people want Anthony Lynn fired. I'm sure there's been some, whispers in the front office and at practices and stuff of some players maybe wanting the same thing. And theme of the episode, Patriots are just that more veteran leadership. Bill Belichick. I trust Bill Belichick to win this game more than I do Anthony Lynn and the Chargers. Still love Justin Herbert and everything that he's doing. Probably going to be offensive rookie of the year, but I'm going with the Patriots in this one. And that's it for the 4 o'clock slate, Joe. Only a handful of games, and now Sunday Night Football is going to be bad. We have the Denver Broncos at the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are a 14-point favorite. Over-under is 51. Do the Broncos have a chance, Joe?
No, they do not. I don't know why they don't flex to these games. Like, at least give me the Eagles versus Packers. Just kidding. Please don't ever give us prime time ever again, which we don't have, thank God. It's all 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games for the rest of the season. But, of course, I'm sure they're going to find a way to flex something that we don't want at the end of the year when this is another game that they should have flexed. It's not going to be close. It's not going to be pretty. Mahomes is going to go off. I mean, there's like we've said, there's so many weapons on offense. Like, I don't know who's going to go off this week. That's just the only question. Is it going to be Tyreek Hill? Is it going to be Travis Kelce? Is it going to be Le'Veon? Is it going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Is Mahomes going to do it with his legs? Broncos are going to win. Offense is going to ball. That's the only question. Who on offense is going to be the MVP in this game?
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are winning this game. My thing is, it's more on the Chiefs' defense versus the Broncos' offense, because when these teams played in Denver earlier, I don't think Pat Mahomes threw for a touchdown. They had a pick six. They had a punt return. Pat Mahomes only had like 200 yards, and I don't think a touchdown or maybe one touchdown. So Vic Fangio's defense did stop Mahomes, but I just don't trust that Denver Broncos offense. And Pat Mahomes is still going to put up some numbers and move the ball for the Chiefs, for Harrison Butker to miss a field goal or two. And now a game that was scheduled for Sunday, but because of the Ravens and Steelers moving from Thursday to Sunday, to Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday, the Washington football team is going up to Pittsburgh to Heinz Field on Monday night at around 5 o'clock. Steelers are a 7-point favorite. Over-under is 43.5. And based on everything we've said with the Steelers, Joe, like, I really want to pick the football team because I think that they have a solid team going on right now with Alex Smith and Antonio Gibson, and then on the defensive side. But it's very hard for me to pick a 4-7 team against a team that's 11-0, especially going on the road. I'm going with the Steelers, but would not be surprised if the football team stayed in it for the whole game.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it, right on the head. I would love to pick the football team in this game. Like you said, I really love what Alex Smith is doing with Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson, and what that defense brings you week in and week out. So I could definitely see the football team, pulling off the upset here, or at least, just staying competitive throughout the whole game. But I mean, I just can't trust them. If it was a different team in this position, maybe, but I just can't trust the football team to, be the first loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers that are 11-0 right now. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Steelers, but I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, I think it'll be a close game. And then I wouldn't also be surprised if the Steelers got right and said, okay, NFL, we are 12-0. We are the undefeated team, and they end up winning this game, by 20 or 30 points. But we're both going with the Steelers. And now the originally scheduled Monday Night Football game, the Buffalo Bills and the San Francisco 49ers in Arizona. 49ers are a 1-point favorite. The over-under is 47. And, Joe, a couple of weeks ago, we all probably thought that the Bills were going to just run over the 49ers, but the 49ers have been playing some good ball recently. Are the 49ers going to win and beat the Bills, or do you have the Bills winning?
Yeah, I'm really surprised the 49ers are a favorite in this game. I mean, it's not even their real home stadium. Yeah, no, I'm going with Buffalo in this game. They've cooled off since the first week or the first few weeks, but they've still been able to find ways to win. I really like what their offensive coordinator has been doing with Josh Allen, and, just using him both in the run game and kind of reining him in a little bit in the passing game. I think Stephon Diggs is going to have a really big game as well. I mean, there's not really anybody in that San Francisco secondary who I think can hang with them. I mean, Richard Sherman and Jason Verrett are both still quality corners, but I don't think either of them really match up well with Stephon Diggs. And then, we've seen some just real creativity from that Buffalo offense. I mean, they just find different ways to get people wide open or, trick plays, like a lot of different stuff. So I think the Bills are going to be able to win this game, and I just don't really see the 49ers offense being able to move the ball too much against them. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still Nick Mullins that, is is handling the reins. And this is the Eagles beat Nick Mullins. I'll put it that way. That's why I will not pick Nick Mullins to win against anybody.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bills as well. I mean, the Bills have played a game in Arizona a couple of weeks ago. The 49ers, I don't think, have yet to play in this stadium, so that could be a little bit of a factor too. But right now with the 49ers offense, all you got to do is take out Deebo Samuel. And I think Sean McDermott will have the pieces in place, will have the scheme to take him out of the game, at least, water him down a little bit. And offensively, you said it with Stephon Diggs, even though Cole Beasley, he's been picking it up recently. So I have the Bills winning this game. It should be a fun game to watch. I'm very excited to watch it. And then, Joe, I think the final game of the week, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're both Ravens fans this week. Well, I'm always a Ravens fan, but I think you too, as the Dallas Cowboys are playing the Baltimore Ravens. Currently, there is no line because there's still a lot of questions on who the Ravens will have on the field. But I believe Lamar can be activated today or tomorrow morning, so he can at least get a practice in tomorrow and the walkthrough on Monday before Tuesday. He'll be ready to play if he's healthy. So, Joe, I mean, are you picking the Cowboys?
Tim, I don't think I would ever pick the Cowboys to do anything right, ever. So, no, I'm not picking the Cowboys. I'm picking the Ravens. I mean, God, there's nothing good to say about Dallas right now. the Ravens, like we said, it was a loss, but it felt like it was a loss that you could build on to kind of gain some momentum going forward. Like, hey, that was a quality team we played. We hung with them with all of our backups. Now we're going to get healthy, and we're going to just run the table the rest of the year. I think it starts this week on Monday Night Football, and they just blow the Cowboys out and remind the nation why they should not be America's team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it could be tough because the Cowboys do have offensive pieces, and it is Andy Dalton. And we know Andy Dalton's history against the Ravens, but this is a game where the Ravens need to get pressure on the quarterback with that banged up offensive line with the Cowboys. I think the Ravens are going to win. If for some reason Lamar is not the quarterback and the only quarterback we have is Trace McSorley currently because RG3 is on, I think we would still win the game because of our defense going up against that offense, but it could be a struggle bus, much like we saw Wednesday night, like a 19-14 Justin Tucker coming in to make some clutch kicks. But if Lamar is the quarterback, we should win pretty handily. So I'm going with the Ravens as well. But Joe, that's gonna wrap up Week 13 of the NFL season. We are in December. It is the first week of December. Can't believe how fast this has gone. But do you have any final words on Week 13 or looking ahead to the final couple of weeks in the NFL season for some playoff pushes?
Oh, man, just like I said, I got to set my lineup right after this before I forget. So, I can, hopefully push myself into the playoffs in a couple of leagues as well. So, it should be a fun Sunday and Monday. Got a couple good games on. So I'm excited to watch everything and, hear everyone's reactions.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of good games. Very excited to watch some football. Everybody, if you would like to be a guest on our show in the final couple of weeks, please like this video and then comment your pick of the week. Also, subscribe to the channel if you want. So hit that thumbs up button. We will see you middle of next week, probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Who knows? Whenever. Joe and I still need to figure that out. But thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the football Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday with the Cowboys and Ravens. And everybody have a great day. We will see you soon.